Nigeria is blessed with abundant natural and material resources apart from oil and gas. But overdependence on oil and gas has affected the country's economy, contrary to what it used to be during the pre-colonial era when Groundnut Pyramid was the mainstay in the northern region, cocoa in the west, palm oil in the east and timber in the south. Until it found its economy in recession, Nigerian leaders were not serious in diversifying its economy with little attention to agriculture. In spite of huge tourism potential inherent in the country and the vast opportunities that it ought to offer by the creative and arts industry, Nigeria has not realized to tap into these opportunities to stimulate economic growth.
For now, I think we should be quiet a bit about what government is doing, because government has not helped the arts in any way for me. If you talk about the female artists in Abuja, you hear about them all the time. They are striving on their own. And if you have looked at the works around, if the students can pick up materials and pick up a few things and produce this for about 3,000, they have been able to sell a lot today. And I kept going around to know, how much did you sell? 10,000 naira. So if you used 3,000 and you are now selling 10,000, that's some gain. The same thing with the paintings. If you spend 3,000 and you are selling it for 25,000, 30,000, we are making it. And so, as part of what we do in class, I teach my students, as you produce, sell low so that you can make a turnover. So many people can buy your works. You can easily boast that my works are in different homes. And so for now, not too many people are helping the artists, but the artists themselves are helping themselves.
People do not value art as an aspect of the economy, as an aspect of education that we should enjoy, that will create. Today, for whatever reason, people seem to understand that we're losing out. Only one economy aspect of life that we are really experiencing, which is what usually we call money economy, oil economy. But Nigerian society should understand that we have more than what we should do to augment what we have today.
Experts describe art as one that can add value to the economy. This explains why multinationals such as Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited have taken up the sponsorship of undergraduates of arts from the University of Port Harcourt and Ignatius Ajuri University of Education on this year's art exhibition, where different works of arts were on display.
The students have used non-conventional forms of artwork. They've used recyclable things. They've used paper, newspapers, calendars, buttons, shoelaces. They've done things that conventional artists would not do. And now that is as a result of the economy. So they are learning from the environment. And that feeds into the title of what we have, Art is Life. So art is a reflection of life. So these students have used the things in the environment to reflect life. Okay, so you see that going into the future, like you said, in terms of entrepreneurial skills, being able to source this material is also something that generates an income for them in some way or the other. Some of the artworks here today may be sold. People will buy them, and that generates income for the students. So you see, going into the future, it's a leverage to tell people that we need to think out of the box. We no longer need to rely on just a monoculture, and we need to start thinking about other things to do.
Stakeholders describe art as part of life, which is also in line with the theme, Art is Life. They congratulated the young exhibitors who captured imagination and reflected in a piece of art, adding that the various artworks are truly reflective of entrepreneurial skills.
As a matter of fact, if you look around here, I have fused aesthetics into utility. It's not just art for art's sake. Because we have problems lately. People who are religious zealots are avoiding some sculptures. So in avoidance of that, and then make the sculptor eat and feed, a sculptor like me, I try to avoid some images for such persons, and then produce things like this. They can see this is a stem from a tree. Why did I pick it up? It's beautiful. Handiwork of nature, wrinkled by weather and time. All I needed to do was to cut off some parts, expose 4 legs to make it disable. Today it has sold some fantastic money. Otherwise it would have been broken down and used to cook meals as fuel wood.
The aim is towards encouraging young people to grow, to expose young people, to tell them that there is a future for them, and that future lies in their hands. What we are just doing is to present a platform on which they can use for them to grow, to expose themselves, to give them the kind of support that they need to be able to blossom.
For now, the students themselves and artists generally have taken the bull by the horn. And if government is not coming out to do anything for them, they have started on their own to go out to different places, asking for little helps from places like Total. If Total is able to fund the keying for the students, they will mold pots and they will fire pots and they will go out there into the market. And most of the students are now, as much as possible, trying to use materials that are discarded, materials that nobody wants to use anymore, so that they spend less on such materials, making a lot of wealth from the dustbin.
In the economic diversification drive of the federal government, can Nigeria utilize these upcoming artists to promote economic growth? Professor Ndowa Lale is Vice Chancellor, University of Port Harcourt, while Professor Samuel Otamiri is the Director, Entrepreneurship Development Center, Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Rumolumini, Port Harcourt.
There is no sector, in my opinion, that has done as much as the world of arts in Nigeria. With all that we've done with the oil industry, I don't mean to put down any company, but if there is anything that put Nigeria on the map today, we're talking about the arts. You have different variety or variants of arts. You have music, those on the stage. Take Nollywood, for example. Many parts of the world today know Nigeria through Nollywood. So we have a huge opportunity in the arts to make Nigeria great.
For us to achieve that objective of diversifying the Nigerian economy through arts and arts exhibition, first of all, we must realize that arts is incorporating both culture and our tradition. Two, we must look at it beyond fanfare and show, go and do exhibition, and that's all. We must begin to think about how to industrialize the area of arts and culture in such a way that those things that are produced 1, 2, 3 could be mass produced. When they are mass produced, they will go to market. And when the Nigerian market is reasonably saturated, it will certainly get outside this country.
I spoke with some exhibitors who disclosed that most materials used in their artwork were picked from waste bins, thereby promoting waste to wealth.
It's life. Art is life. Everything about life is art. Like what made me to do this, I was trying to carry out an experiment, innovation. I wanted to see if I can use waste to produce wealth. So using waste material to bring out whatever I want to bring out, you know. So, and the end result of that waste material, this is the end result of the waste material, producing this artwork.
Motivation about art is the environment, and I try to think of how to make the environment a better place based on when they throw away these lovely looking pieces, it litters everywhere, but not knowing that there is money from it and that you can make money from anything. And that's what art is all about. Make money from things that normal people don't think it makes any sense. Trying to create something out of nothing, and that is just what I did here, and that is how I feel art is like.
This culture is gradually going into extinction, and I decided to replicate it on a wall hanging for the upcoming generation and as a reference material for we that is coming up for study and every other younger one.
If Nigeria must succeed in its diversification process, leaders ought to exploit art and tourism sectors. Welcome to the discussion segment of CSR Digest. CSR Digest is a program put together by Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited to x-ray some of its corporate social responsibility to host and neighboring communities. You realize that Total EMP sponsored an arts exhibition for students of various universities, including Ignatius Ajuri University and the University of Port Harcourt. Today I'm here with Professor Samuel Otamiri.
I'm happy to be in the program. I also want to use this medium now to quickly thank Total Oil and Gas. I want to start by saying that the problem we have in this country is the issue of misconstruing us and us exhibition. If we get it right, maybe in no distant time, it will form a critical part of the diversification of this economy, which is solely dependent on oil. In Nigeria, okay, look at what Total has done. They have conducted, organized a kind of exhibition. Students took part. To me, I look at it as mere show and fanfare. Nothing came out of it. Maybe they gave the students little money, little award, presentation and all that. But that will certainly not help us to diversify the economy. It will not. Yeah, because like I said, we have always misconstrued as exhibitions.
Okay. And as proper.
Okay. If you take as exhibition as business, invest in it, expand the horizon, you will now begin to think about the business aspect of it, the profit aspect of it, the money-making aspect of it, and then it will now be an avenue for diversification of the economy.
Okay, but I think that what Total just did was to, explore that avenue to pick out those talents, those raw talents that could be made, to do business with arts. Don't you think so?
That is very important. Okay. They have picked them out. We have a situation where those people who have been picked out may not get the necessary funding to expand their business. They may not get the necessary sponsorship to fund their business. And so they will end up being picked as they have been picked. They will remain artists at the level of individual artists, operating at miniature levels that don't make any impact in the economy. We're talking about, you are talking about diversification of the economy. If those individuals open shops along my tree and begin to produce 1, 2 art material and sell, does it really amount to the diversification we're talking about? No. So now there are things I want us to look at in this area. Okay. One, we must expand our understanding of us as exhibition to realize that us as a concept includes both artworks, include both the culture and the natural heritage of a people. And when you package them, they make more meaning. I want you to remember Festac 77. Yeah. It was an arts program, arts exhibition. There were masquerades, there were dances, there were artworks displayed. A lot of foreign exchange was garnered into this country by people who visited, people who came. Even our markets boomed within that period. There were a lot of visitors. Hotels did well. A lot of things happened. You can see how arts exhibition, which includes all the ramifications of arts, can diversify an economy. If we continue to develop in that direction, what do I tell you? By today, we'll be making a lot of earnings from arts and culture. And so the first thing I want to say is that, first of all, we must redefine our understanding of arts. We must embrace the fact that it consists of more than just artwork. Our culture coming, our natural heritage coming. And when you put all this together and package it, you draw in a lot of income. And then the economy will begin to grow in that area.
Just like what happens in Calabar annually.
Fine. That is a kind of artwork.
Festival.
Yes, an annual festival. A lot of money is made there. Now let's come down to the individual artworks. Okay. Assuming we want to center on artworks.
Yeah.
How can we diversify the economy by asking an artist to produce 10, 20 artwork, and he goes out there to display them? Some big men, very comfortable men, walk around that display area, select one or two things to buy. It becomes a kind of show or fanfare. It ends there. Why don't we get these big men, including the Total that organized this program, to fabricate machines? Sponsor these children to fabricate machines, import some of them, building machines to industrialize this art practice, so that artist that is able to produce 10, 20 ceramics in a month can produce more than 300 to 1,000 in that same month. Let us look at us beyond the Nigerian market, beyond the market for big men. Let us look at it beyond fanfare. Let us take it outside the Nigerian market. That is the way we will bring in more money, rake in more money, and by raking in money, the economy is expanding. And if the economy expands through that area, you will see that you are now beginning to develop ready alternative to oil and gas. So the core word there is that we must expand our understanding, our operation of this art and whatever it is.
Okay, now Total is actually looking at some of these, because this year, one of their cardinal objectives this year is to look at arts broad way, not just this narrow way. Is to look at it all encompassing arts, culture, arts and culture. If other IOCs could embrace culture of their host communities, as you can see, the South here, there is no state that doesn't have oil. Now, what if all the IOCs operating this area will now come together to develop the culture of their host communities? Don't you think that will?
We're still where we are. No, we're still on the same page. Okay. But there is a little difference here. Okay. Now, if Total Exploration and Production Company is sponsoring or supporting the cultural heritage of their host communities, very fine effort. Corporate social responsibility, we'll call it, yes. The question I ask you, because of the subject we have on hand, how far does that help us to diversify the economy of Nigeria?
No. If all the IOCs can come together and do that to various communities that host them, what it means is that the whole of Southeast, which is almost half of the country, would have been, robust.
Somehow robust. I think that we will advise, from my own angle, I will advise that if you have the ears of the executives of Total, now tell them that it is not all about show. It's not all about fanfare. It's not all about giving money to the community.
Exhibition.
How can they, through what they are initiating now, help the economy of the environment they are operating in? How many of these cultures they are sponsoring their celebration? How many of them can they package? In what way can they package this culture? So that it will be given international visibility and recognition. And such international visibility and recognition will eventually, over time, begin to yield money. Some of our brothers, your brothers, my brothers, will begin to depend on those things. They'll begin to earn money from those things. And before you know it, they'll begin to rake in foreign currency.
You have talked about the IOCs coming into the institutions to see the equipment, if possible, import some of them or fabricate some of them, so that the student can mass produce to affect the economy positively.
Yes.
Now, can you just expatiate on that? Give an example of other
yes,
communities.
I said for us to achieve that objective of diversifying the Nigerian economy through us and us exhibition, first of all, we must realize that us is incorporating both culture and our tradition. Two, we must look at it beyond fanfare and show. Go and do exhibition, that's all. We must begin to think about how to industrialize the area of arts and culture in such a way that those things that are produced 1, 2, 3 could be mass produced. When they are mass produced, they will go to market. And when the Nigerian market is reasonably saturated, it will certainly get outside this country. Think of the Blisco company in Ghana, that Blisco in Ghana, Togo and all that, produces these wines that we wear.
Yes.
That thing was a local technology. What did they do? They simulated the local arts into their brain, their computer and all that, created slates for them and started producing them in mass. And today, Blisco is everywhere. Have you seen the president of Ghana before dress up? Does he dress up in suit most of the time? He comes out in the traditional Ghana Akara and all that. And that thing now when you take ordinary wax in the market, they call it Akara. Ankara. It's just that it is originating from somewhere. Do you think about our kuruku bita in the Calabari area, the big cloth that women wear for celebration? How far we have taken it? How? It's been there for ages and for years. Why haven't we seen one Calabari or reverse industrialist that will say, I take a picture of this cloth, take a simulation of it, take it to a place and see whether we can fabricate a machine that can mass produce this. It's the same linens and thread they need, and see if we can mass produce it and make it more popular. I remember once, Mr. J, I remember once when I was the Dean of Faculty of Business Studies the first time, some persons came for accreditation. We don't need to bribe them, we don't need to do anything for them. I thought of what to give them as gifts. I went to the market, there were about 2 or 3 women amongst them, and bought this kurukubite cloth for them. Do you know that till today, they have kept asking me of the name of that cloth and where they can get it and all that. Do you remember the Akwete cloth in the Indoki area?
Yes.
Has it gone beyond this individual weaving? Have you been to Kwara State before, where they call Okene, and former Kwara State, now Kogi State, Okene and all that? They also do this Akweta-like cloth. You go to the West, you see a lot of tie and dye, adire and all that. Why have we allowed them to remain individual local businesses? These are things that we can develop, fabricate little machines for them, and they will be mass produced. And when these things are produced en mass, they will begin to look for market. We can start by taking them to neighboring African countries. Before you know it, mark you, anytime foreigners, Europeans, come into this country and go to do shopping, they like to buy our local fabrics. All this tie and dye, adire, and all that. So, if we must diversify this economy, remove our eyes as it is fixed on oil and gas, and we want to focus on us and us exhibition, I propose industrialization. Our governments should realize that industrialization is the key. We do a lot of copy and paste civilization and development in this part of the world called Nigeria. And we must tell ourselves the truth. A president goes outside, goes to America, goes to London, sees what is happening there in terms of business. He comes back to tell us that government doesn't do business. Government doesn't do business. Individuals should do business. You don't want to realize how many years it took America to develop to the point where government has removed its hands from doing business. We are a growing economy, and we need these great hands of government for our economy to develop. It is not yet time to remove the government hand from industries and businesses. Government should create incubation centers for those who are talented in various areas of arts and culture. Bring them up, harness their skills, and see whether they can help them set up. In no distant time, those people will begin to produce things in mass. And that's the only way we can diversify the economy.
Just like the Nollywood.
Yes.
The Nollywood industry has gone beyond Nigeria. At least that one has some international recognition,
right?
International platform.
Yes.
But this culture, that just as we are talking about, culture and arts, other arts, branches of arts, they are still within.
Do you imagine what Nigeria will gain if Nigerian government sponsors some masquerade dance in the Brazil?
The international culture.
The Brazil international culture display.
Yes.
Do you know what Nigeria will gain if they say, okay, we want to sell our culture, bring our traditional masquerade, tie them the normal omo everywhere. Let them be wearing rubber masquerade. Let us wear the traditional mount, the real mount.
Wooden masquerade.
I want to tell you that Oyibo people will leave that their rubber. They've been seeing the rubber for a very long time. They will leave the rubber and come and watch the natural mount with the palm plume omo all over it. They would like to watch that one, and they will pay us for that. We should begin to think about how to market our culture. Time has come when we should stop being afraid of, or ashamed rather, of what our culture is. If you look at ceramics, pottery, and all that, they remain our only residual. How much of them have been taken care of by successive governments, made them popular? What does it take to establish a ceramic company? Here in our Department of Fine and Applied Arts, they produce ceramics. Two problems are there. One, they produce them at a very little number because they are used for examination and all that. Yeah. Two, there are expensive chemicals and adhesives and other things that are used in the production of ceramics. These students doing these practicals cannot afford them. Yes. So they need someone who will help them build an industry. Do you know, look at China even brings us plastic rubber. They bring us plastic plates. Do you know how much ceramics of China are in my trade market, in my one market? Please tell Total EMP. Tell them when you see them.
No, you are telling them now.
Tell them to go beyond organizing fanfares and celebrations. We are tired of that. Let them pick 2, 3 individuals who are talented in arts and culture in their host communities. Ask them what they can do. Train them up. Brush them up. Establish these industries for them and see how they can better their community, better their environment, and better the Nigerian economy. We are tired of Eguji, Eguoba, and Egueche, New Yam Festival. Those things don't give us anything. Let us now begin to gain from beyond the celebration and begin to think about profiteering from it, making money from it, and then improving Nigerian economy. Then and then too, when the economy is diversified, do you also know that Total will gain? Yes. So many people will remove their eyes from oil. There will be no restiveness, there will be no oil pipeline blowout again. People will face other areas. They too will have peace. It's just that they don't understand that there is a long-term benefit from helping to diversify the Nigerian economy. So people will look less at that area. They will gain, they will have peace. They will drain their oil and carry away. They will face other things to do. And Nigerian economy will be growing.
It's like they want to actually move these young men and women from oil contract economy to a kind of entrepreneurial economy. That is what we have been doing for over the years now, for 2-3 years. We've been sounding that.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Mark my advice.
Yes.
Not at the miniature level. When you set up somebody, give somebody startup of 100,000, 200,000, what do you expect the person to do? Someone, and this person you're giving this, he probably may have married with 2 or 3 children, and by the time he pays school fees one time, the whole capital is gone. Let them look at entrepreneurship from a more developed perspective. I am director of entrepreneurship in this institution.
Oh, that's fine.
They should look at entrepreneurship from a broader perspective, such that when they want to develop, they should not think of developing the entire community. The policy here should be each one take one. Okay. Take like 5-10 people. Okay. Develop them. Okay. Set up a world-class organization for them. Before long, that organization will start employing people. They start yielding profit. Let these oil companies begin to realize that we have gone through a lot. If they want to help us, like we're talking about Total now, we also encourage other IOCs to key into what Total is doing. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. If Total has started this one, let us also tell them to expand it. Maybe they have a myopic idea of what they can do through us as vision to diversify our economy. I think they can do a lot. They can do a lot. Reorientation of our people in terms of what this arts and culture entails. Providing machines and equipment to enhance mass production, industrialize arts and culture, involve more people in it, involve more finance in it. Let government come in. There are other well-to-do human beings in this country. Let them come in. Let our people invest in our own local arts. Let our people invest. Let there be a reverse man that will invest on how to industrialize the production of equity. Let there be a reverse man or a company in Rivers State that will industrialize the production of kukubite. We have our own local ceramics, our own pottery, our own textiles. We do tie and dye. But let this stop being something to be done at the backyard. Somebody produces 10, 20, takes to market. Can't we produce? Will God kill us if we produce 2,000 at a time? So let's do this thing this way. We will be helping our economy. And we shall inadvertently be reducing crime and hostility in our community, because those establishments will require people to work there. The more people you remove from the communities, the less people you have available for crime, armed robbery, kidnapping, this, robbery. Those things will reduce when you begin to remove people gainfully by industrializing the art area. There is a lot to be done with arts and culture that will generate reasonable fund for the economy of Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is the much you can take on this week's episode of CSR Digest. CSR Digest will come your way again next week. Until then, I have to thank my professor. He has kept me busy. I've been listening. I have garnered a lot of experience about diversifying the economy through arts and culture. And he has provided so many solutions to Total EMP and other IOCs. I hope this has satisfied your curiosity. Thank you so much for coming on to CSR Digest.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.